automated.
Yeah.
Clock, and stuff like that. But I'm trying to say, so you look at it and say, it's a system they've practiced over years. So it's a normal part of their life. Nobody worries. When they say, they watch or someone assistant 1 hour ahead or backwards, depending on what it is.
I mean, idea back one kind of Thomas Sumo, yeah. Computers ne normal na time no sisana and nankasa sisano. You know, and on a bit make a crash say, who does those things? Say, time no sisana. You know, I was listening to one program and the presenter was meant to do 3 hours program, but unfortunately, he has to do 4.
4, okay, yeah.
Because he's going back.
The next day.
He did the first 1 hour, and then at 1 o'clock, the time went to 1 o'clock, and so he's now starting the program.
Right.
I mean, it's so beautiful. I mean, this is what we say. It's an organization, like you are saying. If things are in place, you don't even feel it. And we have to. I don't know whether something we can say yibi to me yibi in normal to say.
Koku, realistically, said why can we not do it? Koku, let's look at South Korea today. Let's look at Rwanda today.
Yeah.
Koku, everything is possible, provided you give it your best. Koku, in fact, the me who were Rwanda, in fact, when Rwanda came up, Rwanda saw more Tutsi, whatever war.
Tutsis and Ifo, no.
Hutu wars, no. Koku, I was at that age, and like, you'll be at the BIO pay information to make you feel like also you need to be say. So I followed it quite a lot. But if you look back 20 to 25 to 30 years back, no, who share no more 1 year with you and ask yourself, how? Kwaku, Sisabia, Rwanda one. And say in Africa, South Africa, if you are, Rwanda could be the best country ever in Africa now. But why? They paid dearly for it. They sacrificed. They had a leader who was prepared to take them.
Who was willing
that's right,
to
the promised land. And he has to a greater extent. Though you may say South Africa is not perfect yet, but the stories I hear have not been there. In fact, it's one of the places I may planning for my next holiday destination.
Hey, Rwanda.
Oh, definitely. Because I just want to have an idea, a fair idea of how Nkrofo can, because Nkrofo it's unbelievable. Say a part of Africa, and they've come out of war in just less than 30 years. Right. And I just want to witness it for myself. I've read a lot. I've listened to people a lot about it. I sometimes want to experience. Because Osha, then Nankayeni Ghana. Say good leadership be a you shouldn't be where we are today. But in America, if you look at Nigeria, look at Ivory Coast, look at the countries around us. Right. It is the leadership that makes the difference. And I believe they had a leader who decided, say, I have to take my country to the promised land. And he has done it to a greater extent. He's still alive. I don't know when he'll be going yet. You may say democracy, but democracy is a good leader is waste of everything.
And in actual fact, nobody wants him to even go. If you compare to what is happening in our country, whereby
why the empire the power na brabo? Send you ask him, oh yeah, the part. At the point they are saying he's too dictatorial, he's that. Even the Western media, by neck, almost a holiday or Africa, almost so in my view, I think what we have to look at is it is our leadership. Say a Kwakoye election, and you must be careful following the rhetorics and the lies of politicians. We must be able to subject them to proper scrutiny, right? And some sort of, seriously, Kwaku. My name is recent Nanado say on-call debate because he's a sitting president. So this thing could have exposed other things for us to see. But when you don't do any of these things, and I'll do this and I'll do this for an idea, and the Western world, that's what is happening there now. Because the people hold their leaders to account. Even before you come to power, questions they will ask you. Look at Les Truss there, Rishi Sunak. Look at what happened. Oh, by the end, they say, nada, sani achiche sikam and Nkrofo. We get election, elected, and we continue with that. Yes, actually, we are getting nowhere.
Okay, Mame Emra, yeah, president. So to say Ghana, I think let's look at the performance of our city now, which is the biggest problem of the country now. People are talking about it, and I believe say people are now saying say the performance of the city, the city has done so badly that they want the president to go, and so let me ask, what is the problem of the city itself? I mean, meaning, but why is the city depreciating every now and then? Why? What's the problem?
Well, one thing is a depreciation of a currency is a matter of a fall in the value of the currency.
Correct.
Let me start from here in my UK. Let me say, and chair, so we had our own fair share of the fall in the currency. And this currency I'm talking about is the pound. The pound fell so low against the American dollar, or let's say the US dollar, because they say it's not America, it's the United States. Okay. Sincerely speaking, if you look at the situation as it stands, right, the question ask yourself is, why should a powerful country like UK have their currency being deteriorated? Okay. The point is, we now live in a global world where your productivity, the strength of your economy, your productivity as a country, right, has an impact on other parts of the world. And therefore, the global world does stand for your currency to depreciate to a point, say, or your productivity goes so down. So at the point, they cannot help it. So at every point in your economy, there are eyes on you of how your country is doing. Okay. What is your resources? Okay. What is coming in? What is going out? In terms of, economically, monetary wise and fiscal wise. So based on these things, so then where are you taking loans from? What are the things happening? What is the gap in your economic power itself? Right, in terms of financing of the country, so maybe a finance of one. So when these things start coming out, not about the world market now, they look at all these things. What are the resources you have to even put out there to be able to meet your debt and whatever you owe to other countries or to the international world? So all these factors will come in, and that is why I said, I see a bit of a gap in our expected economic performance with UK, the pound started just dropping overnight. And simply, additionally, because that was not communicated, right? It's the communication that didn't go right. And at the shock by economy, people like, wow, you have all this fiscal gap. You are reducing, what do you call it, taxes. How can you do that?
And you want to spend more.
You want to spend more.
Where are we going to get the money from?
That's what happened in the UK. Let's just suppose that to Ghana, where we don't produce anything as a country. Whatever we produce is cocoa, gold, everything is in the raw state. The gold now is not accounted for as a nation. A friend is saying, Chama won to me, any gold bars, every good radio station, you ask yourself, since you call the company, you go beside our account, you say, how much tax did they pay on all those golds? You have to say, you already buy a new car. Just one kwaku. See, you see a country be a normal 2 year. They be say, tax I no tree on those gold, because gold, except the country also the question in pass on farm baby. But other than that, why export you are tongue baby? So how much is the tax on that?
Must we even wait for him to sell the product?
These are the questions. But the point is, you can't. You are in a democracy. You can't just go and arrest him. It is his choice, because he can't say gold illegal, and that's why I was able to just show it on public TV.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm not against the fact say he's a businessman. But then, so business observe say so good. You expect though, but and for that matter, you sure how much tax we are going to get on this gold. And do we even know how the gold left Ghana? No, we don't know. Therefore, your resources now, though they are in the raw state, besides them being in the raw state, we don't know even the means of medical. cocoa na to say doors in Tino, Neswayading, but cocoa cramming nada, or some of them go to Ivory Coast through cocoa smuggling and stuff like that. Therefore, American economy, no, yeah, fiscal policies are not working in terms of taxation. But when I say taxing about taxing almost far borders, loopholes, those are the precious ones. Come to something like the friend saying, yeah, your chrome, you 2 year oil.
Yeah.
By oil, you 2 what is our percentage? I think it's about 17.3% of the total oil production in the country. Yeah,
and
it's because it's raw. No, you refinery you 2 years. Near the common on it, near refine at a higher cost. They're back in our country. But the question you ask yourself is, when these things are happening, no, the world market is the world market itself is sitting somewhere and observing all these things. Well, what they'll car back if you have Ghana, who could do Haba near charge you 3 times the cost of the car now or Hano, because that's the only way a government is to be actually one sir, no people who buy and sell in the country. I'm saying there was this story of Guta went on demonstration because almost the government saw the is it VAT or whatever tax officer have a trade with various shops. These are sort of challenges, but if systems are working, it's not a bad policy, right? But you don't need to put anybody there. You pay that person. How much is the person going to make?
Exactly.
Or you pay someone to sit in that particular shop.
That was what I was going to ask.
Proper education, and so be able to tax. But the sack of the stories, which you tax no, no politician be back no, or cook, or driver, or gardener, or no proper few or drivers. Not who sell fuel coupons. I done a kermu, a briefcase for just a month. No, chichaman the bush and foreign now for 4 years. I don't buy the fuel. So you ask yourself, who pays for that?
I mean, from what you're saying, it looks as if say whatever the politicians are doing, the citizens are looking up to them, and because they're looking up to them, and they cannot make sense of the way they live their life and the way almost citizens live their life. That is why sometimes this rebellious comes in. And why is that what you are saying?
It is part of the reason why many people don't want to pay taxes in Ghana, because on whom the taxes working for him. In this country, you pay the taxes, you see the taxes working for you.
Yeah. And we know that the country is rich anyway.
Exactly.
So even if you are paying taxes, somebody is even invading taxes. It's not something that is affecting the country so much. But in our case, anybody who invades tax, whether small or big, it affects the country so much, because that is the only thing we depend on. We don't have any reserve here.
But here they don't depend on their reserves. So
they don't, and we don't have.
The gold, you don't have the reserve. That's the point. We don't have, and they even don't depend on the reserve. And that's why you have that 45 billion gap we are talking about. It's not because they don't have a reserve more than that.
If you talk about even country having a reserve, which is sometimes is used as equity when the country is even going to borrow money now.
That's right.
They can even look at the amount of his reserve and say, "Oh, okay, listen, we will give them to these people."
Problem.
I mean, why don't we have reserves?
Our pattern is hand to mouth. Whatever we make today, we spend it today. And that is why our government is now trying to say he's going to reserves in the form of gold. I think.
Yeah, now they said they want to buy.
But the question to ask yourself is, the gold will be there for my generation, your generation, to come and meet that gold in Ghana? Will a particular politician at a point in time not go for the whole gold and go and sell it quietly and nobody even knows the gold has been sold? In connivance with maybe some kind of people. These are the things it makes our system quite difficult, because it takes away trust in the system. You see, that is our problem. There is lack of trust. Well, I'll tell you for a fact, we don't have to presume, say, politicians, right? Politicians, and the US can say the Africa. It is same in the western part of the world. But the laws are above everybody. Nobody's above the law. Therefore, because human nature is like that. According to the law. Your prime minister, or your whoever, you no be deal. Either resign, a chief of a prison. That is the system working. By a hot year, no, people are above the law. And for that matter, there is nothing you can do to be able to bring them into line. So, for the sake of that mistrust, no, you, the ordinary person on the street, so also better ways how to survival. That is survival of the fittest.
And that is committing any crime of any sort, which
you may call it crime, but at the end of the day, it's survival of the fittest. The point is, I am also trying my best to survive. What I'm doing, there's nothing wrong with it. You're chilling, so all I have to do is, if you're not a peck and be a penny your baby. As the idea, say, you do be a handful, as of one penny for any politician can see, no, yeah, call, I don't know your corner, say, you be a mujai and follow this person, right? Munya no my, yeah, friend is like, I'm with be a friend, like could be a Ben Wong or one bow or something, that kind of word. Into Nana penny off the phone, no afraid a commissioner of the police, afraid we. Portrait with the Munyano, Munyano, my and I says, Jano. These are the things we have to look at until you are able to get all this out of the system. Now, Banner said, Obia is paying exactly what he is due. Me and you know. Let's look at this so-called Galamsey amount for say, yeah. Say Galamsey, I'll tell you, go there to a Ghana party and see any taxes. Ghana should never go to IMF. Because the gold resource every Ghana out of this galamsey over these few years, no, you have no idea. But it's not taxed. Obisi is going to go to Krum. Chinese, not their fat Chinese plane. Or do China ha? Say any Krum, almost pay gold, no. Into Abadi and found and now someone year ago.
They don't care.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. Obi yeah, papa. I mean, or say a few ye. Chinese for better no. It's here. But when you come about the Abadi and the Yamiase, what we had their fun from Abadi, the Yamiase. Among say your body a bribe Ghanaians, no pay your binya into your car, scan putu or quack from our Chibiamano. I him for I him say, Yatito Monka say, you or Chibiamano. And your pal will be a mano, when we are about China. And these are the reasons why it's become difficult for us to be able to say, even the reserves to be our promo.
So I mean, let's look at a character like Dr. Mohamed Bawumia. He's been one of the guys. When he speaks, people the connotation that comes to people's mind is that he's a brilliant chap. He understands what economic is. When Nanado won the election and he was selecting his team, Mamadou Bawumia as the vice president is the head of the economic management team in Ghana. He's gone around delivering a lot of economic lectures in the country whereby people have really believed what he is been saying. Mamimbusa, at this particular point in time, or minor sikasem aye basano. People are now calling on him, say he is part of the problem. Do you think we can blame Mamadou Bawumia for some of the problem that is going on in the country right now? Yuma.
Kwaku, I think that is a very, very difficult point to just go straight to. Kwaku, Oshe, way back in 2014, 15, 16, I think Ghanaian media was full of, facts and figures and economic policies and principles from Dr. Mamadou Bawumia against the Minister of Finance at the time.
Correct.
I think you remember Setekwe and then late Vice President Atta.
Atamel. Emisata.
If you look at the kind of debates that were exposed by
Mamadou
Bawumia, I said no, the USCBB has antidote to everything that was being done by the NDC government at the time.
Yeah.
Well, people came to have so much confidence, right, in his podcast policies, proposed, and all those stuff. But the question that comes up is, from there, where is Dr. Bawumia? they are now in power. Now, everything economics, no, he is the head of the government team. And to be expectation is say by now, no, and you also be a yoke room no. Economics in the no or no kitem.
Correct.
However, I'm some amount for CCMs and TSA will move to digitization. Why no computer engineer? So the reality is that yes, we all want the best for the country. People are accusing him, but me Jimmy say on one side they got to that position because Kweku say waba Abeka say the best way to manage the economy is to make sure say you go into production. We create jobs for more people to pay taxes. And waba production and we've taken so much loans as a country. Which
he spoke against.
Which you spoke against. And you have gone into this same thing.
Even more.
And much more. In the terms of revenue expenditure, instead of capital expenditure, to sort of try to invigorate the economy. But Kuna went to me and yet. Nasene, a man for said no. Economy no and ye at pansign. And therefore the world market is now seeing the Ghanaian currency as the worst currency ever in the world. Right? Yeah. Countries to say Afghanistan, you know, when Ghana bear the worst currency in the world. Then that tells you where we are.
Your problem.
Right? Ukraine for currency near west in the world. So then the question that comes up is assembling about the or by solving problems now economically. Area, so I don't have a problem. Right? You can say they can defense and what are now and any area. But economy near the area. He's a vice president, luckily enough, on your finance, but he is the head of the economic team. And don't forget, as a head, no, it is the team's advice and the SF finance minister. Right? So we don't have finance minister, but yeah, someone cancel money movie. And he being the head of that team, no, there's a BS so. And I think that is why when people accuse him, right? Say, if you don't say textbook are not kind of no.
Yeah.
Textbook. And this is what he said, no, can textbook. Or I know HU and Paul, so kind those days.
Yeah.
And form trade. Form 4, Paul vote, you know, you be jump back of form 4 now. Well, I'm sure I be repeat you.
Definitely.
It's also chew. I'm not for saying it now. So the point is, I to some extent tend to agree with people who make those accusations. Say he has to be part of the problem and he should be blamed.
Others who are saying say we can't blame him. No, it's like you name how tribalism, Ghana politics. He's from the north, and if you look at people who are surrounding who show Mumua, they are all accounts. And it's very difficult to say, as somebody from the northern part of our country, when he speaks, people will listen. And at the moment, people are saying, say, when he speaks, people don't listen. If you are in, it is true, say, he is a vice president, and when he speaks and people don't listen, what do you think he should be doing? Or do you think it is the right
thing? I'm happy to use the word if. So myself and yourself were not there.
We are not there, Debbie.
Exactly,
we are not there.
So the conditional clause is if.
Yeah.
If that happens to be true, then the question is this: what makes you a leader?
It's to make a decision.
It's to make a decision. I'm saying there's this one of them kind of say if you think the kitchen is too hot, just get out of the kitchen and go and get some fresh air.
Exactly, Brigadier Mason, no.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get out and go and get some fresh air. Yeah. So if you know what is going on is wrong and you don't agree with it, you are a man, right? Just make your point clear. Your friend is saying, special prosecutor. Nobody will take or can we assist? Or say, no, I tell my resignation, I'm going. Why can't he do that? If it's the real man he has been talking about, he has been preaching across, no? If that is the case, so those who are saying, say yes, that is my only view, say, I disagree to some extent because he is a man of his own words. Onyapala onim exactly what he's doing. And for that matter, say you mark that excuse, say A, B or no, on your president into na normal corner, I'll beg to differ.
Okay. Say you were Bismarck, line or so. My answer say to me, any Bismarck, a chunk or more kakra. Ebusian for awareness to media na muti, Kwakujas Bonsini, your Bismarck, my gun and more ujina your name. Ebeti, Nenumun Sam Kakra. Bismarck, good evening. Bismarck. Sorry. Bismarck. Yes, yeah. Kazanindi. Hello. Yeah, Metonka pa. Hello. Yeah, Bismarck kasa. Yeah, Tonka.
Yeah. Oku, and you made a mechia was up ready for you na. One find time is a multiple noise video and as a ja. We will see a torture and a Timo after a DNA. Fee. And the Oku was after a Janipa echo to buy a couple Sunani after a Jamaican many a chair office and many are 8 pounds. It's a multi noise beer. Oku, already a Dama for Fanchak.
You.
A young part of my China issues me new and I just still now just drivers na kasa issue na that's we each them I'm guessing young part of my China young and TS Santa for a strike in the answer Omunia Juma and amount from forces almost China Omunia Juma. You know, it's a matter of just fair no now. And for Krana still now there be to massive. Now we should number 3 almost second hand goods or more Dr. Mensa Hormone to Ashton Hormone almost so 2 weeks in or moon tongue force beam Emma traders very far force if you shop on a cotton Emma area man and be what to be bend down boutique in almost and Tombi. To go Ghana there so far strike upon strike. Now the yes Kakra any Kakra Choba Onesa almost to know Nasia Wiki Emu Edibashu say almost Roman say Otufua over Tonquine say almost so Epidija now if you know Omode Mbakoni Toast ne na Dramone Sana Manamano Neja. So almost Emma almost a Mayoboka. If you also boss so possible saying so over the weekend. Over the weekend, we didn't come out now. A manica said, you see a crano and Chinabo quiet thing. And to a Mako boss of Paso Parcosro. And then to know almost so say, over my said it's no mono. Almost over the week game a feature of Nano. Almost so as a map to Efa Choba Onesa, Omo Funi Bankuni, Abetia, any as I said, almost Becca said, or Utufua, over Tom Quine to go Canada, over say hot and I hot.
Okay, idea back one, ye knew a hot no and I hot. It is a say no. A then pressure, Osha, a war president, so I don't know Ghana for say president enye.
Hello, Goku.
Yeah, Bismarck mene. Okay, all right. Mommy and chair.
Sasabe be my
Nami busa say, I don't know Ghana for say president enye mom.
Yeah, Goku. The drivers in say, man, penny taxi be a dafu so a man called you know, fool and I said dollar no or more eco fool and a banner. I want to say, yeah, but to me, a taxi be a free so now a day I want to about or my all the day I did see that yeah, because fool so I need to now go answer and the best crown and when you say two for to any extra who angonamamu, make us say a mampany, I bet it is to occupy more. Na amampany be the Casana, the Casania Camadia. Then so or started as a not in the government by or my way or my way. I have said into 2 years. What did you walk? I was say I'm gonna and I said I'm gonna move. If you say the idea I was say Ghana say oh Casana say Casana say what's that with achievements I mobile my idea now for every year say this time I hot or mumpe sa ne money be at your crowd much no you won't pay anything kaja dollar no obetimi ache no na gina ho na say city no baba sign ho nanka nema nema tima ago e dey amom na emom no obeye say ye ba ye we dia koku ni de Ghana for do na ani ensada enye won say bi say wo mate abre na fi no.
Okay, Mr. Bismarck Liner Akat. It's one of the topics I ever can want. The Vice President has been booed our voter region. Bismarck. Hello. Yes. Oh, you okay? Yeah, that was it. Yeah, but was it for the report, you know. You ever sound through actually, you ever sound through.
Martina minim say china no ye betime di nkomo afa striker bekoso ewo ye no ho a na afa ye ne drivers no atwetwe nkomo asas yan partner china ka bem na say show no ba so a ye bi di hu nkomo
Definitely show no beba so ochina me tiagwem egwem ewo Ghana for ni jumedi ye be das
oko mesumi das
you for Bismarck and amote nenkano mene Mr. Emmanuel Ashley and a wolf video mo hay Ashley em say the yentie adewe.
You will recall that I stated in 2014 that if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. That was true then. That was true then, and it is true now.
Okay.
It is 100% correct. You will recall that I stated in 2014 that if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. That was true then. That was true then, and it is true now.
Mr. Ashley, let me ask you, Baumia didn't lie when he was making that speech.
Quick me that say, said Baumia did not lie.
Yeah. And he has not lied.
And he has not lied. But the subject matter, right, of emphasis is that then Baumia has been playing with our economy. He couldn't do anything. And therefore, the exchange rate has exposed him today.
But let's continue and listen to, because I've listened to this tape and I've heard people clapping when he said these things. Yeah. People were clapping. And I said, why are they clapping? But they were clapping. And I thought not all of them are stupid, because the meeting that the presentation that he was making this presentation at executive meeting when we had a lot of intellectuals over there, and a lot of them were clapping. And I've been thinking whether men are not wrong, and now say hono and what is wrong with Bob. I don't know. Why were they clapping?
Well, there is one thing with our podcast system. It will lead us into serious problems as a country and as a nation, for that matter. Kweku, you see, Kromha, when you are the prime minister, when you are the chancellor of the exchequer or whatever, now it can be not saying being it good or bad, your party themselves will just scorn on you.
Yeah.
So the AC, realistically, and BB I'll say a bond because at the time, no, we have been exposed to the exchange rate already.
Yeah.
Because that means the fundamentals are not right. And
Yeah.
he's emphasizing that.
Yeah.
So it's 100% today.
Yeah.
So if the exchange rate is just at a free ride,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Falling, then it means the fundamentals are not right. And you still clap. But
he says something.
Your party.
Yeah, he says something.
It is 100% correct. So if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose. But it is warped logic to jump from that to a conclusion that if there is depreciation in their currency, then the fundamentals must be weak. Do you understand the logic? It is very warped logic.
That is something I didn't understand. Say, if you jump from the exchange rate or mine to the depreciation of the cedi, and you say if the cedi has depreciated into the fundamentals are wrong, then you may be making wrong analogy. That was what he was trying to say. I mean, I got confused over there. Seriously, is he playing games? And I said,
well, yes, it is.
And he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. Well, you see, there's one thing about, debate. In debate, I'm saying, do baby, you feel say your points are weak, no? You just have to just oppose your point against your opponent.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And use your opponent's case to justify yours.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Baumia is doing. Right? At the time,
yeah,
he's accepted. Because if he lies, he knows now, and she said it maybe since everything is recorded on the internet and everywhere. Therefore, since I didn't say that, people will bring it up and they'll prove to you that you're a liar. He doesn't want to go through that route.
Yeah.
So a quite often son say, yes, men I can't catch them.
Yeah.
But me catch them say, you see, he used the way 2 words he used.
Yeah.
Devaluation and depreciation.
Correct.
You see how smart he is?
Yeah.
I'd say, interchange them with the same words. All right? You see, because depreciation or purchase any short time. Devaluation, the other is any full time apostle. Depreciation or a short time. It's a short time. I say, be big a crabia not it's near air follower. Now, you see, I don't say you have been expressed, fundamentals are not right. It means you are wrong. But the point is, he's just trying to save himself. And he was smart. And rather unfortunately, to say I expected excuse me to say the illiterate kakra, I'm sorry to use that word.
Yeah.
And now money economics in India and someone said that to have clap for him because I can't brofo.
Correct.
And yakasa no kind, my brofo no kind.
Exactly. Because as for Nyansana or person or candidate,
that is the point. That is different from the all canon. And see, Selbenian Crawford could be to say penny forcer at a fracture, Mamunti, near table, I can a whole lot of crap about economics near the year. That's also be born somewhere. Then my question is, we are not on the right track for development.
Now let's. I want you. I mean, you are doing a very good job for me because this thing I have been trying to understand it for some years now, and I don't get it. Let's look at it.
But if the
I'll ask you a
exchange
question
move,
after the
jump
end.
to that conclusion that the fundamentals are weak. That defies logic. That defies logic. There could be other external factors causing the exchange rate depreciation. For example, if I tell you that if your leg is broken, you are going to be unable to walk. Then I'm somewhere and somebody comes to tell me, this person is unable to walk. Can I just conclude that their leg must be broken? There can be other reasons why you are unable to walk.
I mean, you are in the first place, analogy, if you compare the broken leg analogy to the fundamentals are wrong, the exchange, if the fundamentals are wrong, the exchange rate will expose you. If you look at the analogy now, are they similar? Can you compare the broken leg analogy to the how do you call it? The exchange rate will expose you analogy.
That is why I call the kind of smartness in his whole communication.
Yeah.
He is trying to just justify what he said and has gone wrong, and there's no way he can defend it.
Yeah.
Accept that, yes, he said it, he can't lie. But if you look at this logic, what defies logic? Nothing defies logic.
Nothing.
Did you at the time go back to also find out what other external factors were impacting the currency at the time? At the depreciation rate
at the same time, when the depreciation was up,
exactly.
did you also find other factors?
Right. Did you look at the other external factors? So then, what I'm saying is, this guy is just trying to play with our minds. And unfortunately, you've got, like you said, very prominent people in economics, in industry, and whatever, clapping for him because he's the vice president of a party they support, possibly. Right? So I think all he's saying doesn't make sense.
And
right?
we'll get to find out, right, whether what you have just said, whether what he is saying or what he said at that time to today, whether it makes sense. Let's listen to the tape to the end.
But the NDC logic will insist, in the face of contrary evidence, that since you cannot walk, then it must mean your leg must be broken. So our worst is better than your best. And then you say boot for boot. This one is more like boot for Chalewote.
Ele banjo. Yes, sir. Ele banjo. Ele banjo. Ele banjo. Why go?
Okay. Boot and Chalewote. Why would you say boot for boot? You are matching boot with Chalewote. Now, Mr. Ashley, okay, that particular analogy again. Why did John Mama say we are going to match you boot with boot? After the analogy, he said that how can you say you are going to match us boot for boot? This is boot and Chalewote. And indeed, it is boot and Chalewote, isn't it, today?
But
I don't know. Yeah.
I will agree the statement boot for Chalewote. But let's go back into reality and real analysis.
Yeah.
In my view, it is disingenuous for him to make that comment. But for his political reasons and partisan reasons, he may have said so. Because Okachami said it is a reverse. Boot for boot. No, Mahama say boot for boot.
Yeah.
Sebane say the boot was for maybe NDC now and Chalewote is for NPPR.
Yeah.
Then I may say he's right because the depreciation of under NDC of the same currency under NDC, is not as steep as it is today for the MPP.
That is the question I wanted to ask. Say, if today what he said is right, if it is true, say it's not boot for boot, but boot for Chalewote, then now we can say they are the Chalewote
that's my view. That's exactly the way I'm coming to. So the boot is still for Mahama, most likely. Because we all lived under Mahama.
Yeah.
We saw there was depreciation, yes, we agree.
Yeah.
But they were in pennies, in pesos. The depreciation at the time was in pesos. Now we see the depreciation of 2 cedis in a day.
Yeah.
A day. 2 strong cedis in 1 day depreciation.
And we talk about 2 cedis as if it's just an ordinary money. If you take it back to 2006, 2 cedis, today's money is about 20,000 cedis.
It is.
And if it is depreciating at 20,000 cedis
in a day.
That's a lot of money.
So these are the issues you have to look at. Therefore, like I'm saying, in my view, that comment, he's been smart as a politician.
Yeah.
Maybe he got a good communicator to maybe help him, come up with it. But I think he shot himself in the foot, simply because ideally, as much as I agree with him, he has to defend his point. Some of the, icing he put on the cake doesn't match. You can only tell this to, people who don't know what they are about.
So,
Right.
so from what you are saying, there's no way a boot can turn into a chalote. So chalote is chalote from the beginning.
That's what it is.
So exactly. So it means Bawumia has been lying right from the beginning up to now, trying to change the chalote to be a boot, but it's not.
I will agree with you perfectly. I will agree with you, Jesse, if you say so. Because the point is, from the onset, that's why there's this school of thought from people from the NDC camp that he's just a theorist. And I think they are being proven right as we go along. You see, Kwaku, this very comment was made how many months ago, how many years ago?
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
That's right. And yet, that very external factors has not changed.
Still
they
the
are
same.
still as they are.
They are getting
they
worse.
Were going to blame what do you call it? COVID-19. Now COVID-19 just stopped. Then they push it to a Ukraine-Russian war.
Yeah.
Next time it will be maybe the rain is too much or it's not enough for us to plant our food and whatever. These are gimmicks. You don't throw this into
okay.
This high level of debate when you're talking about matters of that nature.
This is interesting. I mean, let me take you to the booing of the vice president when he went to Hogbachocho and he was booed. Do you think he deserved it?
Kwaku, I think your question is, do I think he deserves it?
Yeah.
Why should I say deserves it? I don't think he deserves it. But Kwaku, the point is, in life, don't forget, the president himself was booed, right? This is in Accra, and an event that was non-political, non-tribal. It's a purely open social event.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And the president himself was booed.
Yeah.
Compare that or juxtapose that with an event in the Volta region, which the NDC called their World Bank.
Exactly.
And you are there as an opposition.
And you are still going to play that game.
Opposition government, let's put it that way. Not opposition party now, but opposition government. Candidate. And you are going there. So he's going to me, it's nothing to really worry about because you are in your opponent, what they call the World Bank. Just like you say, when Mahama goes to Kumasi, what might happen to him?
Yeah.
Therefore, I wasn't worried at all. I'll look at it as, it's a norm.
It's a normal thing.
What would have been out of the norm was the one on the president, which was a pure social event, non-tribal, non-political, purely social.
But
for people around the world.
Yeah, but let me ask you, do you think as Bawumia as the vice president, whereby the economy is tight, people are complaining, and there's an event and you've been invited, what will be your preparation? Because if you read the story, the vice president, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, was at his vintage best in Anglon in the Volta region at the Grand Derba of the 2022 Hogbachocho Festival. As one of the special guests for the occasion, the vice president used his keynote address to highlight the beauty of the festival, the economic challenges the country is facing as part of a global economic crisis, and the highlight of his address listing a tall list of interventions the NPP government has struck in the past 6 years, which he said has been possible, notwithstanding the challenges. First, the vice president acknowledged the economic challenges the country is going through and the hardship it has brought to its citizens, which was right. But he expressed confidence that the country would overcome the challenges. Then came the moment which got significant part of the audience applauding every mention of project, and a section appearing organized near the media stand and obviously unhappy by the vice president piercing address shouted away, but away, with the host Togbe Afede Syria III her special guest, the Asantehene among the audience, Dr. Mohammed Baumia virtually listed all the achievements and social interventions of the government in the past 6 years as he assured of steps to ease hardship on the people. As the vice president spoke, it became an interesting specter of loud cheers of endorsement, a mad shout of dissent from those who were feeling the sharpness of the piercing words. At the end of the address, the vice president was generally cheered, and the sound of the tiny group shouting away, which had gathered near the media stand, piled into insignificant. So therefore, we can say, even though he was booed, no, it looked as if the people who booed him are very organized people, because if you look at where they went to stand, closer to the media stands, just for them to be heard and things like that. So it looked as if people just organize those things against the vice president. But if you are the vice president, if you were the vice president and you were going to a situation like this, now I believe you will prepare, and I think the vice president didn't do bad at all.
Kweku, you see, they say a day is a very long time in politics. If you look at our own Liz Truss against her chancellor, Kwesi Kwarteng, when he invited him from America,
and get rid of
from
him.
Washington to London, and handed him his letter.
Exactly.
He never knew he would go in less than 2 weeks.
Yes. So a day is a very long day.
It's a long time in politics. Correct. So what it is if you look at the situation Baumia faced, I think his preparation was quite political. Sincerely speaking, I will tell you for a fact that yes, the beauty of the culture of the Anlo people and all those things were great. And I mean, that's what he went there for. But I wish he had not touched on the economic side and what they have choked so far.
He couldn't. I mean, he's the vice president. He did. He has to.
Right. You see, but Kweku, if I were him, like you said, what I'll do is I'll actually look at the beauty of, we are on a cultural event. It is not a podcast event, right? It is not a podcast event, it's a cultural event. So I'll focus on the culture, finish my speech. Anything podcast, I'll reserve it for a podcast event, maybe some rally or whatever of my party at a point if I'm invited. But at that particular point in time, I'll tell you, Kweku, there are two sides to this coin. There could be a possibility of, I'm only talking about possibility. I'm not saying I know, I don't have any evidence, but Ghanaian politicians has done it over years. They could have shipped, or taking about maybe 5-10 VIP full of members of their party there to just go and cheer him up. They'll give them food, they'll give them t-shirts and whatever. Not t-shirt, but just go there and cheer him up. They all do it, I'll tell you for a fact. Both the NDC and MPP, they do that. So the people you may have seen, they knew this will come up. So they'll force themselves to the front lines, closer to the front lines,
and keep clapping.
To just cheer him up. And then maybe these people who came in are the genuine ones, right? The local people who were waiting to maybe boo him, but they were not given the chance to be that close to the vice president. And that could be the reason why I believe we had two sides of the coin. But that does not, right? That does not mean that I am saying that is exactly what happened. But I'm talking of possibility. That those who were cheering him might not even be locals. They've been maybe shipped from maybe
somewhere
Ashanti region, Accra, or whatever.
Because of recurring event, they know something of that sort will happen.
Definitely, I believe so. They might be party, enthusiasts that have been taken there to go and get this thing done.
This one, let's look at this one. Omani Moyedin. So let's listen to this.
I took free.
Winneba North Campus.
My intel from Winneba North Campus. Kasa.
Maybe Safi. Now you see, you two petrol money Russia ni Ukraine war no. Now we no so no. Efa Uben.
Are ya 2 weeks more?
Ya 2 weeks money board the we boy the dindi say 1 row who got 5 cities. Then I say the G kakra no so matum. Now we so far Russia ni Ukraine war Uben.
Me ba chona kanina say road near say.
Now can you 150 pesos?
Na do 5 cities.
He say 5 cities.
Ele banjo.
And they boy dey power.
And the month to buy say we no dey any say import one. Say no boy the end to me shibium. Yebre. Na planning demonstration kasiye. Yebre demonstration kasiye fi Winneba runabout. And nantis are naked. Akwakosi man kasi.
Ati demonstration no more kase dey we boy dey abante so.
Abante so we say rule back 5 cities.
Ele banjo. Yes, sir. Ele banjo. Oh, ele show. Ele banjo. Ele banjo. Why go? Bread of life is Jesus Christ. Abolo, wala bolo Yesu. Ikabolo, wala bolo Yesu.
Ba.
What you mean, man?
Yima. Obedi. We no boy then. Ghana are tough. I mean, I listened to the call, no, and I go say, seriously, the guy wasn't joking. Oh, yeah, serious. And no more then.
Kwaku. Maria Kwana ho.
I didn't know.
Kwaku. Those days, now secondary school near there now. What to say? Oh, yes, you know, message. No, some may never you can them say omonto.
Debbie.
Some may not pass it.
You're passing on. You're passing on.
And
no, Charlie, pass me.
You have one and say pass the great idea. That's association.
But you might, I mean, seriously, say we are 1 city 50 pesos. Not say I call 5 cities, sir. I mean, come on. What role in a Ukraine, a Russia war, a play war? I don't know. I mean, I say they don't produce it in Ghana. Sport and I import in free Ukraine. Ghana, come on, man. Demonstration in Basel.
Very serious.
Tell us what it
just suppose this week. Yes, chop for no.
Beton, yes.
You beton kind
it took one not to now they call
but you have to find road no fufu. Because that tells you are taking desperate measures for survival as a country. I think that's what people are doing now. Well, you see, when things get to certain levels, no, that is human nature. So BABCBNC, we don't care. I don't know of what happened. In fact, to follow one demonstration here in Rano.
Yeah, we will talk about
the Kumi prayer con reload or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But Kwaku, the point is, seriously, a do time be Tafrache, we are a war with your funny idea who think a crack be near the when we mix Nase, which is cardiac corner, right?
Yeah.
Sikano, oh, the fee hakodia is easier because you say a cost when those is now £100 a month. This one £100 require about 2-3 times, 4 times those is the other corner. But then Ako who's ano.
No,
2.5 weeks near San Fabio, Canasa. You say, you be a cry and talk. And somebody told me, yes, you would be quick or tired. Would not no man one in Panadia, member says one in Ghana, the no man will be bringing yet price tag a negotiation, marketing, you know. And you, members and any partner agree, when we be around Miss Canon, so may call how you could use car balance and may just come maybe a Madame Fuhaba or Bebano was surprised. No. So it's more or less, you know, it's alarming.
What is the problem? I mean, seriously, sometimes we talk about what is the problem? You know, like I have seen a video where, but I don't know whether you've seen the video. I know it was made, but the guy went to the shop and they said, "I did Okoto Angwa. I'm one year 48 CDs or send a boy you into Okwaba or the second shop who drew on here say 50 CDs. No, so 50 there. Remember 48. Obedru hono. Sadia 48 and Edru 60.
Kwaku
60.
Kwaku. Question of Bisame answers in now by Umia speech noon. And yet a yidiano. Now old one our bomb.
Yeah.
Was it the fundamental?
If the fundamentals are wrong now, it will
expose you. And that's where we are.
So the fundamentals
are not right.
And what are the fundamentals?
Or not can say 100% correct.
Yeah.
And that is the truth. The counting that all that dying. Right. That the logic doesn't mean broken legs. Any another, but it's accepted, and that's the truth. That's the truth.
Is it how difficult it is for us to go back to the fundamentals? I mean, Nanado came with planting for food and jobs. You know, now people are complaining about food. Food is everything now. Food. And they are saying, so why are they not managing to get this food to the people on the ground? Why?
These are the questions we ask ourselves. That is the fundamentals are not right. They say them. Is it propaganda? He said it. Baumia said it. The same propaganda now those days, right?
Yeah.
Now NDCA suspected. Say NDCA and I nunti exchange rate expose you or no. It is the same thing they are doing in West. So if the exchange rate depreciation at the time was maybe 5%, now say about 45%, 50%. That means they are doing worse than NDC. And that's why I think I was telling you about the boot and Chalewote story, our analogy. You see, so that is what it is. So he has stated it clearly. So I don't think we have to even bother our heads to find out why it is. It is what it is because the fundamentals are not right.
Now let's go on to the demonstration that went on Saturday or so or Friday. Kumi Prekon. It was on the 5th of November. What was the purpose of it? I mean, the government is not doing good. They want kind of Orata to resign. At the same time, they want Nanado to resign. And do you think in our dispensation, in our politics, you know, this is Martin Pebu. Legal practitioner Martin Pebu has outlined some of the measures the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, needed to take should the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and his Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, resign, which we know is not going to happen. Now, according to him, one of the major steps he needs to take is to cushion the Ghanaian economy. How can the Speaker of Parliament cushion the economy or the economy? I mean, how is he going to do that? He's not a politician. I mean, he is, but he at the moment, or a Speaker of Parliament, he doesn't even have a team. How is he going to cushion the? But in the first place, do you think calling for the President and the Vice President to resign, or is it in right order?
Kwaku, I find it difficult to say it is in the right or the wrong order. But Kwaku, if in a presidential system, not a parliamentary system, in a presidential system, I hear it's about 60%.
80%.
MP somewhere, is it?
80%.
80%. No, they are 85 or 90
yeah,
about that.
But 60%.
By about 60% of your MPs.
All right. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Goes against your governance as a president, presidential system president.
Yeah.
Kwaku, it is quite a difficult one to see as an ordinary matter. Baby. there's this school of thought said that people later were called, they were bribed by some businessman in Ghana, and for that matter, in a way. But I'm coming back to the point and say, should the president and his finance minister and maybe his government resign? It's another question for another day.
Yeah.
Why is it another question for another day? Because it is not as straightforward as it is. But per Martin Pebu and per the constitution, from his statement per the constitution, yes, should they be incapacitated or any reason, right?
Yeah.
Be forced to resign, the Speaker of Parliament becomes the next president. Because of the judiciary cannot, they don't have that power because of their position to be non-partisan and independent. No, they cannot come in. So the speaker becomes the president. So I think he's looking at a potential position of the president and the finance minister, his team, resigning per what they want. Then legally, Abambagui becomes the president. But the question is, he is trying to put Abambagui on the notice that when you got that chance to come, you had an obligation to cushion the economy. But don't forget, this cushion of the economy is not going to come from his pocket.
No.
It's a matter of, he's been in parliament for all this while.
Yeah.
He's been in government for a long time. So he knows people who are good. And I don't believe he should be partisan. I know he has been the NDC member, parliamentarian for, only God knows, donkey years till he became the speaker. But he has so much experience, and I believe that he will look for people of competence, both in parliament, outside parliament, in opposition, and in the society as a whole, to be able to help build the economy. Because we have some businessmen, some professionals in their own areas of economics, finance, call it law or whatever. Onim say, with his experience, exposure in the country for years, so Onim said they can help. So I believe when that time comes, I don't know, but I think there should be considered provisions that will determine exactly how he forms a government, if at all he has to.
Mami Busau, do you think, say, what will make this president and the vice president to resign? I mean, the pressure that is coming now, do you think the pressure is enough for them to have the feel for them to resign? We know, say, Listrust resigning, because he quite resigning. Some of us didn't even see the force. Now it was behind their resignation because we are not privy to it. Do you think this pressure on our president is so much, a lot to extent, say, can influence them to resign?
I think that is a multi-dollar question. It is multi-dollar question because the thing is, all powers reside in the president.
Exactly.
And the president has to actually, the first thing was the finance minister. That's where they started from.
Yeah.
Then they just suppose that the finance minister is Dubois, the minister for speciality or whatever for, not deputy. They first went to Dubois.
Well, that is
who is
something
minister special or the advice, finance something. Yes. I forgot the exact role he plays. Then people just opposed it to Baumia because he's the head of economic management team. Yeah. Then they came also now to the deputy minister. You see, that's how the thing has been going.
Deputy minister
of finance himself.
Which happened to be who?
He's what's his name? I've just forgotten the name.
Okay, all right. Deputy finance minister.
Is it Kuma? Is Kuma?
Something Kuma.
Yes, something Kuma. Right? He is Kuma.
Okay.
So the sister for Furiata and Edubuahin.
Yeah.
Who is special advisor on finance.
Okay,
yes. President special advisor on finance.
Yeah.
That's where it started from. By the parliamentarians, the backbench parliamentarians for MPP, who went to do the
demonstration.
Who
demanded
who went to the that's right.
House, yes.
So they were looking at only the two. Then I think NDC inflamed the fire and added Baumia. Right. And on debate, they brought in the deputy minister because if the minister has to go with his deputy, right, then they said Baumia is the head of the whole economic management team. He sits above the finance minister, and therefore Baumia must go. Then they now just oppose it to the president himself, because the president is the one who rules the whole economy. So the president, under him, there's so much rot, and for that matter, the president himself must go. So if you look at it, we have 5 different people in this very circus, right?
Yeah.
That they want to deal with. But the point is, why must the president go is the question. The president must go because Mr. Runo, in his keyword, the back always starts with the leader.
Yeah.
And the president is the leader.
Yeah.
So if things are going so west, and we as people somewhere trying to advise, right?
Yeah.
Or pinpoint to you that we see this and that are wrong.
Yeah.
So get rid of this person, and we as a society can move forward and do better.
Yeah.
And you sitting in the seat, you are not going to touch that person for us to get some better results.
Yeah.
Then invariably you better go so that the whole system is gone and look for somebody else for the country, because the country doesn't belong to you. We voted you into power. That's the argument these people are making. You got the point?
Yeah.
We voted you, the president, to power.
Yeah.
So if you are not prepared to get rid of your finance minister, for us all to be relatively free, I mean, financially, economically, and whatever, then you rather have to go because we voted for you. You go, and then we have a better economy
because
we can live.
I have heard other argument that the finance minister hasn't done any wrong. He was hired by the president and he's doing the work of the president. And if you look at the president still have confidence in the finance minister. And the president is saying, everything the finance minister is doing, is something he wants him to do. So in actual fact, as for the finance minister, he is doing the bidding of the president. And I don't know whether we have a problem with the finance minister. He is doing the work of the president.
So that answers that helps answer my question easily. So therefore, if he's doing the work of the president and we are still seeing this rot or mess in our economy, then our argument is, then you are not doing well. So then go away. Let's find a way around it until maybe the next 2 years. If at all you have to get an interim president for the next 2 years, or in the matter of maybe, I don't know what the constitution provides, that maybe just an interim president for maybe the next 6 months for us to organize a new election, not waiting to 2024 December. So these are the things we have to look at. I think lawyers or whatever might be studying this, and I think someone like Martin Payne might know better. That's why he came out with that issue of Alban Bagbin become the president. And the consequence was if, because the back now is not stopping the president, but it's cleared all and loaded on the head of the president.
I think I have Kwame Kweni, Dr. Dakwa on the line. Doctor, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
It is saying.
Presently.
Epacho Kwekuni.
Kwekuni.
Okay, Kweku Yanko.
Na enfoma amudini opani a wode na betena ha wo cheche. Okay, wode ma me famfiri wo so no wo Canada. Adeku me fi se Ghana for de ekokoso yi ma me eji assembly a ye mampani dada Dr.
Uche, what's up, radio?
Mahama. Honorable, the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, a kind of Ghana for a yari aviation. If he said the Echo Cossy, he said the Minuit to radio station where okay, it is a Bribia, Sabi, Lawrence, Epida, as you were mine on yet, you woman, and yet to a baby in a year. He rather came out buying. Will be good kakrana near companies kakrakra near will be good in now. Say, as a more minute 2 hour case. What did this say? Kebu Asemana or can right? You say, where you question a minion in my home and say, you or no, the now will be son. Why and a baby 12 months, one ebe. Or to all can say, Abambabin, any nipabi of his own nipabi of which we go my former government. Really? And no, now, yet say Ghana for Yadi Agri better to say. Obia, or not to our own Mr. Gumano, Bibi Babatono, or no near the any better to say, only Nipa or do for former government in Tibecan, or no Abaya Frefre, Cobo, no friend from Nordoma for me. And no mum, you need a no mumu, the feast no mumu by papa. A chain, or more woman, the Ioma. Say, Sabi, Ghana for ni Sabi, one Kababa boy who needs Yanua, and come over to me as a semi pardon. Now, opening or two on Patrick President.
Mr. Ashley, Mr. Emmanuel Ashley.
Mr. Ashley, I bet someone tell what ye dear or no, Momoa, or ye literate, no, said you was explaining to Ghanaians saying tea. Tia or no, only baby didn't say. That's where they go school. I say, on the radio. See, said you know, a push Magana for saying. And only idea, I am ya as a Ghanaian. If it's a papa no, you need almost to say, Uncle Bay, Roman, because Debbie, idea, you mummy and me who ye, a diatriumpe. Lawrence Bayer, oh, Junior Jesus, all corner Ghana companies were good enough. Oh, you were good. Nina. Na step Ghana pony German Kenti. And Carol is a grand anchor. It says,
Mamimbo so upa so chese sese no amemo na ekoso no idea eye enti Ghana fo na kasa no
the person senya before say kwaku empanifo si so obi so obetu abo na ne nan abafan obi a abafan ne tire say obi a woni ahode so obetu abo na ne nan esibi ana so training a wo huna de ansa na obeka so obetu abo na ne enti se wo man nye anase bi obu man no fi se nye enti na opese onsesa no a ese se wo ye wa adwene se wan na me bi be ma no se me sesa wo no a wan they say I will force one so who forces one. I had to say, wouldn't be Ghana for your dreams. I had to see a place to say, so they need be a national over true, no to a bind, and not so that in so to bit mind be a class. Exactly the same. Because Obiang and I said, Sabi, Omwa, I imagine some person baby my bit said, John Dramani, former president, and as a party is now war. And now wo nipa bi o ma bi say we be pani nti onu nim say bi adachi bo betima pani nti o wa bi say me ba say nipa we mani da so tente say ya wari obi a also we lawyer wo nim say the constitution ni tie ne ho ne ma onu mo freedom say tintina ntia president resign and then what is the process in this saying so resign na ready saying Speaker, yes, I'm going to the new office where it takes ages to fix it. No, or no, no me for the government because the air cost will be paid. Abrafo said was from the frying pan to the fire. This is what Ghanaians are calling for. Exactly, opening our children. That is what he's asking for. Yes, because I buy now also in any baby or be able to say quantity this rifle. Near way and quasum, one then the most one answer. Would you have a fact because so many other do stress? Not really a community. That is what he's doing. What is the alternative? What is I don't necessarily agree. And then say, yeah, again, one year again, say, and to me, Ghana for a year so bad they say to me, say, the next 2 years, and I buy also in the end. Said the young answer say, who said the person bear Obin Koburu Obin Kofa Obisu, Obin Kanjiro Obi said time say Konakonda, Obin say and can demonstration soldier for Abe to can be now Baswa. And can demonstration you crowd your room to be yet. They won't allow you. No other coward, you never cover. And this is what we promoting, including opening Asilino or Tunjel. This is what he's promoting. Eti watch the more kwanya abambabin ebetima faso edi ayeyi aform government. And it's sad.
I don't think say Martin Pegbu and Troy and we are trying to
well, we trying to
how
is opening actually no two officer. He's literate. Tell your Casano or you be your school question. And the current necessary say Ghana for Mama Yenusu Nansan at this point more than the intelligence. More, we should use wisdom now more than intelligence. What you say? Because or not necessarily what we say. Catching that being all day ban MY and Yamayan. You couldn't be paid. Running the bay, Miss Abra and small boy. Now the Chicago Swako because we see a year over a year free or how. What is the end story? And then you feel said the hanging out for a man who said the year 99. You feel so one yet, you Cassatrena won't ye, or yes, or yes, yet to a binding. Now, why name it this one? This is my question. And not to Namim opening or
Mammy Musao, if you said Nanado free so yenya ubi man in your minus.
No, you may be. And not yet, you may be up a new hope. Now, so I then a wee Nanabi, our bra, office, Obia,
Because Ghana, it look as if Ghana form no. Can't you see what is going on?
The process of the Yempobia. Said ye abano no mining in our sato. And yet Hanumudi Bia, and yes, Sabi, Chroma Akrano, process no, almost sato. If you don't know more parliament, and only you know, the right process, take Boris Johnson field. The first one, Boris Johnson didn't resign. Or do baby no who said no, dear Muhammad. And to move faster process, and so they are fine. Yea, the end of the presidential,
yeah, but Obian for so Nanado. I mean, the people are registering their displeasure in the president.
The workers will be on for the Omo yeah, free demonstration. Yeah, say, yeah, say, and when your friend in Takra with Germany. Omo Yana says, so you need to make up Agadeni Pabe, Numus, Yabia.
Emran Nanado, yeah, Kumi Prekono. He didn't think about Takra Wujem. He did it.
Nanado and Yakumi Preko, so be resigned. He didn't do that, so be resigned. And I say, what the idea who can make a choice, say, as I see against any answer for so no yeah, no Nasanenya. Say, or no players to know, yeah, no Sanenya, and then yes, and repeat it.
Look, I have listened to Nanado all can say. Arab Spring, no, during John Mahama time, no, a BBC Wagan and I interview, no, he said it. Well, said people can't do anything, they can't buy anything.
You're no kind.
Well, no,
you're no kind. No, they might warn you. Anna on one pastry. When we see a demonstration, it is going on the same line, and not in Japan. So they might want to say this. It is our no kaya. This is our no pastry. Mo obi ye di aba eno ne yepe.
Debbie, and yeah, no yepe.
That's my question to you.
And yeah, we don't want that. May any agitation. But look, Mabo, Mami can be being sure. I happen to be on a platform and I was on it. I was listening to this program. And a young boy be free sunyane on the show. And a obusa host no say. And he said, then I'm because whatever we have to do, no more country and me as a listener to the program, when I was listening, I could interpret the frustration of this person saying, say you cool, ne was say ye kwa. This is how I interpret the whole thing. What did the American say? So
and I will interpret it. What would have been your wisdom? Wise advice to give to that boy?
Well, I didn't have the opportunity to talk to the guy because
no. I'm asking you now. You have the opportunity now.
So then,
you're listening to hear.
Well, yes. I have not told anybody say Obi Nkofa etu non fankoye demonstration. I haven't said that, and I wouldn't say that. What the Megan? I wouldn't say that.
Now. It's woman advice. I mean,
well, at the end of the day, media meaning say we are in a democratic dispensation. Everything is done through the ballot box and through demonstration and heaping pressure on the president. If you think you can demonstrate and heap pressure on the president and the president will resign, well, that is a suitable call. You are allowed by the Constitution to do that. But to me, it is no. But the point I am saying, and I say, Obia unity is a senior me. What did the American say?
Exactly.
I will not do that. But the person who called that show and said, Niamu pese ye no mon country ye no, and no na me dwene ho.
As mo see, wasama okay, and who I na me ma wo. And I'm say Obia minister de wo dwene ni. Dem mo enipa bi nipa bi amoma kire mo de omo nwene nti. So what you radio so I will cast out obekano very important. What will come and send me many people. I say the Ghanaian, it is a young crowd will be there. What was to say Akalano, and also the power of friend. What friends radio station because one what is only doing or say one TV radio station or say one TV radio or penny answer or person when you pay so back at you saying or cut over. And this is what I am telling you now, and your listeners. Say, because ye kasa at this time, and no, the better that. Say, young Cassanian Zemua, and no, the better that. The Cassanian Zemusua, and no never trade that.
Enti kasa yen kana ndia ansa na obekọ no. Nyansa mu kasa me kan bi kire omo mu tie.
Well, yeah, omo American tell me say Ghana for CFO yempew. Yen nyina ne yempanifo adwene ahunu say ye man na ye won ye frɛ obi so medi yeso a. Ye man kwan ya mfie nan. Obeye den yo ye man mfie nan. Hwe no won ye kokromotie no a ye de yi na fie. Na mmom no said ye can ye feel said ye oye no na nya enu de betima ka ho asɛm a na se ye kwaye say oh onye ntinu yemfa kwa wesu yemfa tu yemfa kwa because e wo fa kwa wesu resignation na wo ka ho asɛm say no say na de na wo mu say first mo say onyi ni ye friend say ni ministers ni de financial minister ana maka no wantie enu tini say wo so wo demonstration no ankasa and resign enti ni wo koka we ti say wo koka no na so no so resign then what over no tell enipa na kasi na ni ministers start no only financial minister ebi ane Martin Kwebu no nka ho eye nipa foforo now Martin Kwebu agina no so say eno awa nyeni tini say me pese wo ankasa kwa resign enti say Martin Kwebu koka na resign ne so no so enti obi so kinkan ebi ano no de okitatu o so dani we say yo obeka se we akoka we enti we akoka we enti watam enti Ghana for mama yen hwe ye kasa yi
Yeah, that's it.
because obi aye kan no obi gina so enso de ye na take ni as
Yeah, that's
it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Said, yeah, well, Dr. Dakwa, line so, or also person or get involved. Anti, Muma Yinti, Dr. Dakwa, or also line so. Doctor, good evening.
Good evening, Koba.
It is saying.
No, me tell no patron way.
Yes, so yeah, who ye pa. We dear, yeah, that's a set. So the tunes afrewa utumi ejapine na obaso. And you may, say so. What ye and kakrabia, you know where the direction of the conversation, and I think meaning so not utie and yeah, but untie and I'll also ask you a question.
Yeah, Koba, and me na I was in the your friend is in public transport, and I was a bit on and off.
Okay, all right. Okay. We were talking about the process of getting the president, off, and we were talking about whether the pressure not on the president, is a pressure a bit to me getting rid of the president, and if it's not even president needs or core, the process of bringing a new person in has been reiterated by lawyer Martin Kwebu. What we want to find out, say, is it right for us to force the president out in this way?
With when it comes to the democracy, that is the beauty of democracy. The beauty of the democracy is it is what the people want. You know, like Abraham Lincoln said, in a democracy, the minority will get their say, the majority will get their way. And the question is what the majority wants. The minority gets something which is their say, but the majority will get their way. Now, if you're asking if it is a right process for us to follow to get rid of the president, the country doesn't belong to anybody. No one is sacrosanct as far as our country is concerned. We don't believe in theocracy. We don't believe in kingship. We believe in democracy, which is the rule of the people. And if the people say that they want someone out, the person has the person may probably have to listen to the people to the people. But then let's also not forget the fact that it was the people that gave the person the mandate. And as far as democracy is concerned, we have the right to change the person after the 4 years. And in as much as we have the right to agitate for a change, it does not necessarily mean that the person should listen to us, because the person also has the right to listen to the people who voted for him or her and stay in power. The mandate we give to him or her is for 4 years. And in the 4 years, if we are not happy, after the 4 years, we can change. So yes, we have the right to agitate for change. but then whoever is in power also have the right to stay in power until their tenure of office is over. Now, if the
Mamimbusa, you made a point over there. Sorry to interrupt. On what basis would the president say, okay, now I'm going to listen to you, I am going? To me, drew a point whereby the president would decide I'm going. As far as like you're saying, he doesn't have to listen to us anyway. He doesn't. But sometimes, in other countries, the president do listen to the pressure. So I don't know whether.
I think that is what you have said. It comes down to the amount of pressure that has been exerted on the president. If you look at what has happened in the Arab Spring, any form of government that has been overthrown by agitations, now it comes down to the pressure that has been exerted on the government. I'm sorry to say, in the case of Ghana, I don't think that we are ever going to get that amount of pressure to make the government yield to it. I don't think we ever going together.
Why is that?
And the reason
why is that?
The reason is, in our democracy, the president does not have the president has a limited term of office. And to me, the question is, if you are not happy, just wait for 4 years and vote the person out. And then secondly, we also do not have a viable person, I find say, who is galvanizing more than half of the support of the country. At the moment, let's say if the opposition leader happens to be the former president Mahama, I don't think that at the moment I don't think his charisma is good enough to carry over 60% of the population of the people. So we can all agree that maybe a lot of Ghanaians are very unhappy with the current economic situation and the way the government is moving.
What is the
management of the.
What is the difference between what happened in this country, UK? The pressure that was exerted on Les Truss and Kwesi Kwarteng, it wasn't that much. I mean, comparatively to what is happening in our country now. Is it? Should it be, say, in third world countries, the pressure should be a point, say, people will start killing themselves before the president will yield?
It doesn't have to be the pressure killing, people killing themselves. If you look at the Arab Spring that started, in the case of Egypt, people didn't have to kill themselves. Of course, in the case of Libya, people kill themselves. I understand in the case of Tunisia, Mohamed Bouazizi had to set himself on fire. Yeah. Yes, but then aside Mohamed Bouazizi setting himself on fire, the Algerians, or is it the Tunisians, didn't kill themselves. It was the setting himself on fire, and that started the whole Arab Spring. The issue is not that people need to kill. Yes, but I mean, that is what precipitated the Arab Spring.
Correct.
But I don't mean the cause of the demonstration, people had to kill themselves before Ben Ali would listen. We have a situation where, in the case of all of these countries, there were no viable democracy. Ben Ali had been in power for, if I'm not mistaken, about 30 years or so. 26 years. Ben Ali was in power for 26 years. Hosni Mubarak was in power for 30 years. So these were situations where the people had no choice. Like, if I don't fight to get the leader out of power, there is no other way by which I can change the leader. In the case of Ghana, we have a viable democracy. We have what Samuel Huntington calls a consolidated democracy, in the sense that we've seen political turnovers. In the year 2000, we saw the NDC go out of power. The NPP came into power. The NPP went out of power in 2008. The NDC came into power. In 2016, the NDC went out of power. The NPP came into power. So it's not a situation where we are scared to hand over power. It's not a situation where we feel entrained to one political party. So the issue is, many people will say that if we are not happy, 2024 is just down the line. Why can't we exercise patience? And this is why I don't think we can ever galvanize that amount of support and pressure to actually kick out the government? And then secondly, who is going to be the leading voice in that pressure to kick out the government? Is it going to be President Mahama? Remember, President Mahama himself will struggle to get even 60% of the population following him. I can understand a lot of Ghanaians who say, well, he's the only alternative. But equally, other Ghanaians will say, I'm not happy with the government, but it doesn't mean I see President. It doesn't mean I see President Mahama as the savior. And you know, we don't have a situation where it is like what happened in the Arab Spring. We don't have a situation like it is in Iran. We have the situation of freedom. We have the situation of democracy. And therefore, people will say, yes, I'm not happy, but then the locomotive power can work it for me in 2024.
Let me ask Mr. Ashley. Mr. Ashley, I mean, we've had this conversation earlier. I mean, what kind of pressure will be heaped on the president for him to go? I mean, like Dr. Dakwa is saying, we have a proper political setup. Every 4 years, we change government. If you voted for him and you don't like him, all that you need to do is to wait for the 4 years to come for him to go. It is not always like that in a democratic world. Sometimes the people we vote for tend to underperform than we expected. And somehow, in other democracy, there are ways to get the president out. We know it's not going to happen in our case. If people start killing themselves, which we know is not going to happen, is it something that will make the president think again and say, listen, morally, even though I have all the powers, even though we have democratic setup that says that 4 years, I believe I have become so much unpopular to the populace that it is time for me to go and leave the country for them to run their own country. If you look at Ken Ofori-Atta, a question was asked, when are you going to resign? And Ken Ofori-Atta said, it's like you telling a father to resign from his children. It means it's not going to happen. You know, they have attached their position to this country to extend, said they have something good in them that they have to give to Ghana. But whether it is you resign today or in the next 4 years or in the next 5 years, definitely your time will come. So that I understand why people come out and make certain analogies, strong analogies like, well, at the end of the day, why do you want me to abandon my children? I'm not going to do that. Dr. Mwakuba put it in a very nice way. And before actually you speak, let me read what Dr. Kofi Amwa said. Are we stupid or cursed? Dr. Kofi Amwa on failure to sack Ken Ofori-Atta. Dr. Kofi Amwa, a celebrated businessman and economist, says he finds it unconscionable that Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta remains at post when all indications point to the fact that he has poorly managed Ghana's finances. He wonders if there are any principal leaders in the country who will hold office accountable for their failures. In a series of tweets on his personal handle on Friday, 4th November, the man affectionately called citizens. Kofi said it was time for the obvious to be pointed out. He said, when will white be white and when will black be black in Ghana? This is the question. And so he titled, are we stupid or are we cursed? Mr. Ashley, let's see. We are talking about the pressure being mounted on the president and the finance minister for them to go. At the moment, we are saying, we know we have a very good setup and they are not going to go. Like you said, all the powers have been given to the president to make his own decision. And we haven't seen anything in Africa say a sitting president is saying, listen, I've had enough. I'm going because of the pressure that's coming from the citizens. I'm going. It hasn't happened, but it does happen in a civil society like the Western world. Maybe people may take my word too hard. But it happens in the Western world. Are we stupid or cursed, Mr. Ashley?
We are not, and we can never be. But realistically, if you look at how things are in our country at the moment, I'm listening to Dr. Dakwa gives me a very good, he said, at the end of the day, we all wish for the best. We have a 4-year term of governance. So whoever comes to power has 4 years to go. But you see, the point is, when you look at that 4 years of governance, there are a lot that happens in the 4 years. Like I told you earlier, in my view, a day is a long time in politics. Yeah. So therefore, activities on a daily basis as a way of shaping your government. And as much as I agree with Dr. Dakwa and no, the gentleman Okasa first.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Yes, the caller Okasa first. The most important thing is we appoint leaders or we elect leaders only for our welfare's sake.
Correct.
Otherwise, there will be no need for a leader at all anywhere in the world. And that is why when a leader is not performing, right, in a democracy or whatever you may call it, people go about complaining. Even in communist systems, they still complain. And all they can do is maybe take your head off quietly or whatever. But human beings are there to make sure that at the end of the day, whatever they do ends well for them and their generations. So when it doesn't go well, people have a right to complain. Just like Dr. Dakwa stated, yes, you have your, you may have your way, right?
Yeah.
As a president.
Like the majority will have their way.
They will have their way.
But the minority
but
will have
say
their way.
You have your say. No, they will have their say.
Yeah.
So whatever you say will be taken in a different context. But the key thing is, Kweku, in everything, there is some sort of an elastic limit. When it goes to a point, you take very drastic measures. And I think Nanado himself on Kokroko with a friend is saying, Kwame Sefa made that statement that what actually triggered what we saw in the Arab Spring was a young man, a graduate, who put himself, that's right, on fire and killed himself. Rather unfortunately, recently people have taken the same argument to Nana Akufo-Addo with the death of this gentleman who I think jumped exactly with electricity cable or whatever. So the point is, we have to look at the Constitution. Does the Constitution permit? Because if the president incapacitated, which incapacitation means it can be different ways, mentally, physically. That's right. Whatever it is, our own to me and govern. You have a right, right?
So therefore, like you're saying, we have a standard of performance.
Exactly. So if the society saying, say, probably, only probably, I'm not saying, right, the possibility say somebody may be judged and say the president is not being able to take certain things because he is not, right, very mentally strong at the moment because of maybe his age. It may be anything we don't know, right? And for that matter, he is not being able to exercise his power to get rid of any minister or do any reshuffle. So it's all just sitting back and we are all drowning in the ship. That's how some Ghanaians see it at the moment. It's like we are all drowning. Yeah. And therefore, if the captain is unable, then we better go and put the captain on the side and look for somebody who can just save us and get us to the shore. That is how I see what is happening at the moment. I'm not a constitutional expert, neither am I a lawyer, but that is the way I see Ghanaians behaving now. And that is where I disagree with the first caller. Yeah. Well, say on no point, they say we should just say the thing is, if it is possible, we know governance and reshuffling. It's a normal part of governance. Right? It happened. This is not the first time we are.
Well, the president doesn't understand what reshuffle means.
That's the point. He is asking us to come and explain to him whether his people are not doing well. That's why he says you should reshuffle. Yeah. You should explain it to him. But the point is,
but must we?
Asking ourselves, we may. Or
no, well, must we as a president, as a politician?
Must is another word. But we may. It's a choice for us to go and tell him, yeah, they are not doing well. But he must understand that our actions, right, shows exactly what we expect and what we are seeing. maybe he's not seeing that because he's in the Jubilee
Yeah,
House
but
every day. There's so much money.
Yeah.
There's so much, everything is there. He doesn't pay electricity, doesn't pay gas, doesn't pay anything. So he may not be seen. And that is why the demonstrations and stuff are a way to make him correct maybe some misconceptions he gets from his briefings, from his ministers and stuff on a daily basis. And I think that is why if you have a good leader, you go down to the, system and then find out from the ordinary man on the street to see exactly what actually is happening. So I have the view that yes, we all want our 4-year term to keep us democracy, but nobody's calling for a soldier or for anybody to go and kill himself. But we are calling for a smooth transition for the welfare of the society, not the welfare of a party or of the leaders, nor of the opposition, but welfare of us as a people of a particular country. So like I was talking about somebody, if what I am hearing and what Martin Pebu, who is a lawyer, is saying is anything to go by, because I've not actually said the Constitution, to be frank with you. If I've got this, I have been able to go into it a bit. But if that is the case, then when he's out, we are not saying anybody is going to be president. No. We are saying that the Constitution has made a provision for the Speaker of Parliament to be the interim president.
Yeah, if the president is resigned.
That's right. If the president is not being able to perform, to lead, because the president was not put in there just to be a president because he's a president, but he was put in there to lead.
Yeah.
And that's why you gave him the power to appoint. Those appointments, we didn't elect them.
Yeah.
Right? Because we gave all the power to the president to appoint them. And he's appointed them through that power. And now we say, no, the people you have appointed in our name, we are not very comfortable with them. They are not helping us. They are not working for us. I think it behoves on the president to then go out and analyze the situation properly and act. I'm not saying he should just act in the interest of the people generally, but he must analyze the issue critically, because this not being a matter of coming up one day to the extent that your own MPs in parliament who stood on your ticket to come to parliament are opposing you, means there is a lot going on. And I think that's what he has to look at carefully.
Don't you think, sir, all people who are criticizing the finance minister and they want people to be reshuffled and people removed are looking for jobs?
That's another school of thought. Well, that's another school of thought, and I will not doubt that at all. But at the end of it all, looking for the job, is the president going to give them just because they came to tell him, remove these people?
That's another thing.
Then it means he's not a leader. It means he doesn't know what he's doing at the castle or at the Jubilee House. So I believe if he reshuffles, right, he must look out for competent people who knows what they're coming to do there. And we don't even need, they are parliamentarians.
Yeah.
We can get a lot of, business people, economists, financial experts, and whatever in Ghana who are even not in politics.
Okay, and normal dear ne boy din I'm say your time no be an no your economic crisis, coffins prices shoot up in Ashanti region. Ashanti region hoping any pe wu you woo baby aden na efundaka no Ashanti memu pe and okay, now let's finish with this
before
one.
You go on. No?
Yeah.
I'm say every people constitution that because yeah okay
yeah.
Or say section 62.
Okay.
Right, subsection 69, section 69.
Yeah.
Subsection 2, or say the president can be removed when there is an issue that is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or the security of the state.
Okay.
It's anything that's inimical.
It's inimical.
Right? To the economy, they can remove him. So possibly that is what they use him.
Okay.
Possibly. I'm not a constitutional expert to analyze it, but I'm just.
You are saying it's there. It's there.
Exactly.
The framers of the Constitution is there.
Yes.
Dr. Dakwa, I'm so person your point, Yanko.
Yes. I just wanted to say something. You kept analyzing the concept of the first world countries to Ghana. The situations are completely different. If you remember our conversation on Thursday, and I say the major issue we have here is culture. The culture.
Yeah.
In the advanced countries, it is not a situation of a senator trema in a sema or manek.
Yeah.
it is a situation of a semi-petroma in a sema. But in the case of Ghana, if this is an MPP issue, MPP are going to find a way to deal with it. Look, the whole Ghanaian population will struggle to push the agenda through. And you see, what I would rather the youth of Ghana would do is rather to take the opportunity to fight against the constitution so that we can restructure the constitution in such a way that we take out the winner take all from the constitution. If we don't remove the winner take all, this sort of pressure would never work. Let's not forget, this is not the first time we having a situation like that. Do you remember there was a time when Ghanaians were complaining so much that Brigadier
Mensah,
yes, said if you can't stand it, get out. Do you remember?
Yeah. If the kitchen is too hot.
Yes. Do you remember there was a time Ghanaians complained so much that our president said, "Oh yeah, how do we call that? Or your dead goats."
Yeah. Or dead goat. Yeah, dead goat syndrome.
Or dead goat syndrome. Yes. And you see, the whole problem we are having as a country is these sort of economic complaints will always come, because whether we like it or not, static effects, shocks, they will happen in the economy. Mismanagement of the economy would come. But we need a situation where we empower civil servants. The people supposed to govern a country is not the politicians. Politicians don't know anything about economy. They are nothing but politicians. Boris Johnson was a journalist. He wasn't even an economic journalist. Boris Johnson was simply a political journalist. He knew nothing about the economy. But the good thing is the civil servants are given the power to govern the country. Remember, our former chancellor, Kwesi Kwarteng, came up with, your friend is saying, the trickle-down economic theory. Immediately, the civil servants called him to come and answer questions. And in order for us to give the civil servants power, in order to give those who are intellectually competent the opportunity to rule, we need to take out the, your friend is saying, winner take all from the constitution. Why is it the president appointing the mayor of Accra? Why is it the president appointing the DCEs? Why is it the president appointing everyone? Ekoba, do you think the president know the name of the DC of Mumpurugu Yoyo?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Do you think the president knows the name of the DC of my village?
No.
New Agreed. I don't think the president does. But if we vote for our own DCEs, we can hold them accountable. What is the DCE be arresting for financial malfeasance? Have you heard that before?
No.
What is the MDC be for financial malfeasance? That are we saying that there is no DC who is corrupt? Are we saying that there is no MDC or whatever who is corrupt? Not until we fight against the winner take all, where it is not everybody in government belonging to the NPP government, the NDC government. These sorts of cries will go on and on and on and on and on, and nothing would happen. In the case of the advanced countries, they have that culture where a senator Tremenya Asemaye come with them. Remember in the case of Boris Johnson's Partygate, Boris Johnson or Partygate, did he invite any of his enemies?
No.
Everybody at Partygate was Boris Johnson's friend.
Correct.
And how did it get leaked up? How did the video of Boris Johnson's cronies laughing against the Partygate scandal, how did they come out?
Correct.
Some of the people knew. Their culture is we don't condone nonsense, whether we are the ones doing it or not. In Ghana, we don't have that culture. Our culture is let's cover up. Ade will fear oye. Because we have that culture, my friend, we can agitate and fight and dream of taking out whoever the president is out of power. It would never work.
Okay, answer na yebeko no Dr. Dakwa, maminfa we sisi aminoka say there is a 50% chance Ghana will default on its debt repayment. This one is coming from Fitch. There is a 50% chance that Ghana could default on its debt management. Rating agency Fitch has projected. The agency said that Ghana's sovereign credit rating may yet face another downgrading closer to default. According to a report by manjoyonline.com, Fitch said that this could become an even more definite thing, which Ghana's talk with the International Monetary Fund for a $3 billion package bring about a restructure of the country's debt. It will be recalled that in September 2022, Fitch downgraded Ghana's long-term local and foreign currency issue default rating, IDRs, to CC. Now, following the economic challenges faced by the country, Ghana began its formal negotiations with the Extended Credit Facility Program with the IMF in September 2022. It has been the hope of the government that this move will bring some stability in the economy amid the rapid depreciation of the Ghana currency and soaring inflation rate. This was after cutting its 2022 discretionary expenditure by as much as 30%. However, this did not deter investors from dumping Ghana's Eurobond. According to Bloomberg, Ghana was considering restructuring part of its 190.3 billion, that is $13 billion of local debt as part of the talk with the International Monetary Fund. Now, what we are saying, Cecilia and say, there's 50% chance that Ghana is going to be downgraded again. 50% chance. It means people have right to say what they are saying. I mean, sometimes are we saying, say, this rating agencies, are they also not genuine?
But I think you are misconstruing rights and possibility. The two are completely different.
Okay.
We live in a very democratic country. People have rights. All I'm saying is, yes, people do have the right. People have every reason and every right to agitate. People have every reason and every right to call for change. But the question is it possible that their call will be heeded to?
Okay.
So the two are different calls.
Okay.
Do people have the right? Yes, they do have the right. But is it possible their right will be listened to? No, it's not possible.
Okay.
We can tickle ourselves all we want. This wouldn't happen. It wouldn't work. We just need to officially sit down and restructure away from the winner takes all constitution. If you remember my conversation with you on Thursday, and Mika say, I'm so sure that what is happening at the moment is devaluation of our currency. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
And I told you that I don't have the facts to back it, but I'm very sure that IMF is telling the government of Ghana to devalue the currency, but the government of Ghana is afraid to say that it is devaluation. Now, this is what is happening. We are likely to default on our international debt. 50% is high, but I don't think it's high enough to cause them to worry too much. But then what I think the government is planning to do is to devalue the currency, pay off our internal debt, and then raise a new internal debt again. And
this is strange. I mean, if these are all artificial ways of trying to manage the economy, I mean, now it looks as if if what you are saying is true, I don't know.
Will not change until we move away from the winner takes all policy. Then we can empower the civil servants, because once we move away from the winner takes all agenda, the civil servants would then be. Let me give you one example. Okai Mutake's case, when Mutaka was accused of dealing for Tintinga and Pampers, and do you remember that case?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember a civil servant was the one who leaked that case?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to the civil servant afterwards?
No.
The civil servant was transferred against all odds somewhere in the north. And he clearly knew that the transfer was politically motivated. On what grounds? On what grounds is the civil servant transferred under political motivation? The civil servant has absolutely no power to query politicians in our country. And this will never happen until we move away from the winner takes all. And all I'm saying is now we can tickle ourselves with all the joy and the fallacies of we trying to democratically put pressure on the government to overthrow the government. Let's put pressure at where it can be successful. Let's change the constitution.
Thank you so much. I mean, Mr. Ashley, I'm sorry, Mr. Ashley. I mean, we are putting pressure on the president. By natural fact, the president is not the problem. The problem is the constitution. Like Dr. Dakwa is saying, if we've got anything to do and to make sure that we have a future, a brighter future, whereby we will not visit things like this again, it's about making sure that we segregate powers from the president by making sure that some of the powers of the president is whittled down by taking some of them from him. And that is what Dr. Dakwa is preaching about.
Yeah, Kweku, I think I agree with Dr. Dakwa to some extent, but I have a few reservations. Kweku, the constitution you have at the moment, to me, I think it's not too bad. If you talk about appointing civil servants and others only from the government, I would say for sure, a typical example is Nanahemaa appointing what do you call him, special prosecutor, who is totally strong NDC member, potential vice presidential candidate for the NDC, that's the opposition party. So nothing prevents anybody from,
who is willing.
That's right, who has won. If you're a leader, you have the power to appoint anybody of your choice. It is only parliamentarians that the constitution says take, I think, about a third of your ministers from parliament. Oh no, I think is it 3/4 or something should come from parliament, if not 2/3 or 3/4 from parliament. So that's a constitutional provision. But appointing people to other places, nobody tells you they should only be members of your party as a president. Not at all. That's never in the constitution. The key issue here is the winner takes all. It is the discretion of the president to make sure everybody is his appointment to the security services, to all other boards and whatever are done by the president with free hands. Constitution doesn't make any provision. Why do you get people like you call them journalists or whatever who are not NDC party members? Except now they tell me our journalists are also pure party members, but they are all on boards and whatever. It is the choice, the discretion of the president to appoint people to those areas. When it comes to people of the ministries, it is by law. Doctor, please, I'll give you the chance to react. But the point is, it is by law that the civil servant should be devoid of politics. And that is part of public sector policies and laws. So everybody within the civil service doesn't belong to a party. In quotes,
even though they vote,
they don't belong to a party. They are non-partisan. Right, it's a principle of the civil service
and
the public service.
It's the constitution that says that even though the person can be political, but the constitution says that we should see them.
He should be a political when he's at post.
Okay,
at post he's a political because he is going to come out with independent analysis of situations and advise the minister or whoever on what to do, and it's the minister's discretion to take it or not. And when he takes it or not, he communicates that to the president. And it's the president also discretion to accept what the minister has said or not, disagree with him, and maybe like when it comes to the matters of let me call it the finance, he might call his economic management team to advise for him to take a firm decision and say, no, minister, I don't agree with you on this. So I think based on the advice I've been given by maybe my special advisors and the economic management team, you should go this way. So in fact, realistically, the constitution, if you change it, I don't have a problem. Yes, you have a few flaws in the constitution, but the tangent Dr. Dakwa is going, I disagree to some extent because the constitution doesn't say it should be winner takes all for everything.
Correct.
The constitution was only on the appointment of ministers to the government. That they should be MPs, right? But it is our own discretion. It is our own discretion.
So you mean the president is skewing, all these leaders skew the constitution to
To their benefit, them. That's
to
it.
their benefit.
To their benefit. That's
Okay,
how I
all
see
right.
it. Yes.
Dr. Dakwa, with you, Mamima 1 minute, so will be
I think my senior man is misconstruing the winner takes all. The winner takes all is clearly enshrined in our constitution. What he's talking about is what we call the winner takes all. The winner takes all means that the president has all the power to appoint everybody. That is what we call the winner takes all. So who is the winner of the election? The president is the winner of the election. Now, because the president is the winner of the election, the president gets the power to appoint everybody. Now, in every civil economy, there is absolutely no civil democracy. That means that where the president appoints everyone. Yes, the president is not bound to appoint only people from his political party, but the president is bound to appoint the people he wants. So they don't necessarily have to come from his political party, but they necessarily have to be the people he actually wants, not what the people want. It's not what the people of London want. It's what Rishi Sunak wants. That is what we call the winner takes all. So because Rishi Sunak has won the election, Rishi Sunak has all the power to appoint everybody in the country. That is too dangerous. The acting says power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is the very reason why we cannot actually kick a president out of power if we don't want him. Why? Because everybody around him is appointed by him. What is wrong if the president allows, or what is wrong if the constitution allows us to choose our own mayor? Look at the beauty. If the president is from NPP, the mayor of Accra is from NDC.
That would be very nice. Okay, Dr. Dakwa, you've made a very wonderful contribution to this program, and I have to say we really appreciate your contribution. Mr. Emmanuel Ashley, and then you rain so one so what you and you break what we just go so many awareness you made the Nanahemaa. The Bunasi Emre Ayabe, the more ABC Heya, baby at Diacoson Yani Petri, and my boy Cinnamon Tea and Kabi from me. Mr. Emmanuel Ashley and Mr. Dr. Dakwa. Bye bye.
Mommy, oh, you can go me, even mommy, no, my mommy, swami, even mommy, no, my you can go me, swami, even mommy, no, my mommy, swami, even mommy, no, my even mommy no age my yare even mommy no age my yare even mommy no age my yare kala Ajomoni na ne yo lo me o ma boni ni abawu mawani Ajomoni na ne yo lo atame o ma boni ni abawu mawani Ajomoni na ne yo da ma boni ni abawu mawani Kwemo na ne kwemo mawu akole mo kwen to o ma Nande, Mamma, Akole, Automa, Atomoniana, Kone, yo, da, Atomoniana, Kone, yo, lo, Atomoniana, Kone, yo, lo, Atomoniana, Kone, yo, da, Ramonande, Ramoma, Akole, Ramonande, Ramoma, Akole, Atwadi. Woman. Joa. Show it.
Let's